Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome. I welcome you all to this lecture in the course Sandhi in Paninian Grammar. We are studying Ach Sandhi or vowel Sandhi, the Sandhi that takes place of a vowel. This can be classified into two. The second one we are studying right now, namely Dvisthanika Ekadesha. The first one we already studied is Ekasthanika Ekadesha. Ekasthani, Eka Adesha. One substituent and one substitute. We also studied two instances of Ekasthanika Ekadesha, namely Yan Sandhi and Ayavayav Sandhi. Yan Sandhi is stated by Iko Yanachi. Ayavayav Sandhi is stated by the sutra Echo Ayavayavaha. We also studied examples of both these sandhis. Currently we are studying Dvisthanika Ekadesha, where we have Dvisthanika, two substituents, Eka Adesha, one substitute. This is also stated by the Adhikara Sutra Eka Purva Parayoho 6.184. This Adhikara Sutra means one substitute takes place in place of two sounds, namely Purva and Para, previous and latter. This Adhikara can be explained diagrammatically in this fashion. You have A plus B both in the Samhita mode. A comes immediately before B and B comes immediately after A, and so they both become the environment mutually. And in such a case now, in place of A and B, this is Purva, this is Para. In place of Purva and Para, A and B, you have one substitute, namely C. So the input is A plus B, but the output is just C. In case of Ekasthanika Ekadesha, the input was A plus B, but the output was C plus B. In Ekasthanika Ekadesha, only A got substituted by C. But in Dvisthanika Ekadesha, both A and B, Purva and Para, they both get substituted by one, that is C. This Eka Purva Parayoho Adhikara continues from 6.184 up to 6.112. There are 5 instances of Eka Purva Parayoho. Dvisthanika Ekadesha. Guna Sandhi stated by the Sutra Adgunaha 6.187. Vriddhi Sandhi stated by the Sutra Vriddhirechi 6.188. Pararupa Sandhi, Ingi Pararupam, stated by the Sutra 6.194. Savarna Dirgha Sandhi, this is what we are studying right now. Savarna Dirgha Sandhi, stated by the Sutra Akas Savarne Dirghaha 6.1101. And finally, Purvarupa Sandhi, stated by the Sutra Ami Purvaha 6.1107. Let us now study Savarna Dirgha Sandhi. This is stated by the Sutra Akas Savarne Dirghaha 6.1101. There are 3 padas in this sutra: Akaha, which is 5/1 of ak. Ak is a, e, u, ru and lu. The first two sutras in the 14 sutras, Pratyahara sutras, are captured by the Pratyahara ak. So akaha means immediately after ak. That means immediately after any of these sounds. Savarne is 7/1 of Savarna. Savarna means homogeneous sound. So Savarne means immediately before a homogeneous sound. And Dirgha is 1/1 of Dirgha, meaning long. So Dirgha means long substitute. There are two words continued from the previous sutras. Achi, 7/1 of ach. Ach means a vowel. So achi means immediately before any vowel. This continues from iko yanachi. And ekah purva parayoho, one substitute in place of two, previous and latter, earlier and latter, these two substituents. Having put all these things together, the overall meaning of akasavarne dirgha can be stated in the following manner. Immediately before a homogeneous vowel, savarne achi, and immediately after ak, akaha. Ak is a, e, u, ru and lu, these 5 vowels. In place of both of them, purva parayoho, place the long vowel, dirgha, as the one substitute, ekaha. I repeat, immediately before a homogeneous vowel, savarne achi, and immediately after ak, ak is a, e, u, ru and lu. In place of both of them, purva parayoho, place the long vowel, dirgha, as one substitute. In order to understand the meaning of this sutra exhaustively, we need to also understand what is a savarna or a homogeneous sound. So the term savarna that is defined by 119 and 1110 needs to be studied. 119 is tulyasya prayatnam savarnam and 1110 is najhalau. Let us study the concept of savarna. What this means is one sound is homogeneous with another. One sound is homogeneous with another set of sounds, of course, on the basis of certain criteria. And this term savarna is defined by two sutras which we already read, but let us read them again. Tulyasya prayatnam savarnam 119 and najhalau 1110. Let us study these sutras. Now, there is an important concept related to savarna, and that is savarna grahana. What it means is that the sound mentioned in the Pratyahara Sutra, that is the initial enunciation of the 14 sutras at the beginning of the Ashtadhyayi, which is the base for the grammatical operations. So, the sound mentioned in these Pratyahara Sutras, which is homogeneous with another set of sounds, represents that set of sounds. This is very important. Also as an important function of savarna. This is stated by the sutra Anudit Savarnasya Cha Pratyayah 1169. Now let us study 119. Tulyasya Prayatnam Savarnam. This sutra has got two words, tulyasya prayatnam and savarnam. Tulyasya prayatnam is the signified and savarnam is the signifier. Savarnam is the saudhnya, tulyasya prayatnam is the saudhni. What is tulyasyam? Tulyasya prayatnam. Tulyasya prayatna has got three words, tulya, asya and prayatna. Tulya means similar. Asya means place of articulation and prayatna means effort of articulation, also known as, in this case, internal effort of articulation as is defined in Paninian grammatical tradition, also known as abhyantara prayatna. So, Shabdarupa, word form or the form of the sound, is what is intended as the general qualified. So, what this sutra means is that the form of sound whose place of articulation and internal effort of articulation is same, tulya, as that of the other, such sounds are called homogeneous to each other, savarna to each other, savarna of each other. I repeat, the form of sound whose place of articulation and internal effort of articulation is same as that of the other, such sounds are called homogeneous to each other, savarna to each other or savarna of each other. And also let us look at 1110. 1110 says Najhalau. Najhalau has got two padas, na and ajhalau. Ajhalau has got two components, ach and hal. So, tulyasya prayatnam savarnam continues in this particular sutra, and the meaning of this sutra is vowels ach and consonants hal, even if have similar place and internal effort of articulation, are not to be called homogeneous to each other or savarna of each other. Najhalau. I repeat, vowels and consonants, even if have similar place of articulation and internal effort of articulation, they are not to be called homogeneous to each other or savarna of each other. This is how the term savarna is defined. Let us study this in some detail. The question is, which sounds are savarnas with each other? So, here is a list of sounds which are to be called savarnas of each other. So, let us begin with a. As far as the traditional sound inventory is concerned, there are 18 types of a. 6 rasva having some other features as well. That is why this plus sign, rasva plus, udatta, anudatta, swarita, anunasika, ananunasika. 6 varieties of a, short a, 6 varieties of dirgha a. Dirgha plus udatta, anudatta, swarita, anunasika, ananunasika. This is shown as a, and 6 varieties of pluta a plus udatta, anudatta, swarita, anunasika and ananunasika. This is shown as a 3. These 3 sets have similar sthana, namely kantha or velam, and similar abhyantara prayatna, namely vivruta. And so, by the definition of tulyasya prayatnam savarnam, these sounds are to be termed savarna or homogeneous of each other. Similar is the case with E, which has got 18 varieties. All these three sets have same sthana, namely talu, and same abhyantara prayatna, namely vivruta. And so all these 18 sounds are to be termed savarna or homogeneous of each other. Amongst them, only short E gets mentioned in the Pratyahara Sutras. Amongst the 18 A's, only short A gets mentioned in the Pratyahara Sutras. So we say that A stands for all its 18 varieties. E stands for all its 18 varieties by the Sutra 1169. So A short is the Savarna of all its varieties, E short is the Savarna of all its 18 varieties. Similar is the case with U. There are 18 varieties of U, and all these three sets having 18 varieties have similar sthana, oshtau, and similar abhyantara prayatna, namely vivruta. So all these 18 varieties are to be termed savarna of each other. Amongst them, only short U gets mentioned in the Pratyahara Sutra. Similarly, we have 18 varieties of Ru. All these, they have similar sthana, namely murdhan, and also abhyantara prayatna, namely vivruta. So these 18 varieties are to be termed savarna or homogeneous of each other. Only short Ru gets mentioned in the Pratyahara Sutra, and 1169 says that this short Ru stands for its homogeneous sounds, namely all the 18 varieties. Then we have 12 varieties of Lu. Why? Because there is no Dirgha variety of Lu. So all these sets, they have similar sthana, namely danta, and similar abhyantara prayatna, namely vivruta. So these sounds are to be termed savarna or homogeneous of each other. Only short Lu gets mentioned in the Pratyahara Sutras. Then we have 12 varieties of A, and there is no short variety of A, O, I and Au. So there are 12 varieties. Now these sets have similar sthana, namely Kanthatalu, and similar abhyantara prayatna, namely vivruta. So these are to be termed savarna of each other by the definition provided by the Sutra 119, Tulyasya prayatnam savarnam. Similar is the case with I. I also has got 12 varieties, Dirgha and Pluta, and they have similar sthana, Kanthatalu, and abhyantara prayatna, vivruta. So these 12 varieties are to be termed savarna or homogeneous of each other. Then we have O. There are 12 varieties of O, 6 Dirgha and 6 Pluta. They all have similar sthana, Kantoshtau, and similar abhyantara prayatna, namely vivruta. And so these 12 varieties are termed savarna of each other. Only long O gets mentioned in the Pratyahara Sutra. Then we have Au, which has got 12 varieties. All these, they have similar sthana, namely Kantoshtau, and abhyantara prayatna, namely vivruta. And so we have these 12 varieties which are to be termed as savarna or homogeneous of each other. Similarly, after having finished the treatment of the vowels, if we go to the consonants, we observe that there are two varieties of y, Anunasika and Ananunasika, which have similar sthana, namely talu, and similar abhyantara prayatna, ishat sprishta, as defined and described by the Paninian grammatical tradition. Slight contact or slight touch of the tongue with the place of articulation. So both these varieties of y are to be termed savarna of each other. Similarly, two varieties of l, they have similar sthana, danta, and similar abhyantara prayatna, namely ishat sprishta. So they are to be termed savarna or homogeneous of each other. There are two varieties of v as well. They are similar in terms of sthana, which is danta and oshtha, and abhyantara prayatna, namely ishat sprishta. So they are also to be termed as homogeneous of each other. Then we have the mention ku, meaning ka, kha, ga, gha and ng. They have similar sthana, namely kantha, and similar abhyantara prayatna, namely sprishta or contact, touch of the tongue with the place of articulation. Now all these five are to be termed as savarna with each other. The term savarna with respect to vowels plays a very crucial role in understanding the vowel sandhi or ach sandhi, and the term savarna applying to consonants plays a very crucial role in understanding certain types of hal sandhis or consonant sandhis, which we are going to study soon. So, ka, kha, ga, gha, ng, they stand for their homogeneous sounds, which are the five sounds. Similarly, you have chu, meaning cha, cha, ja, jha, y. They have similar sthana, namely talu, and similar abhyantara prayatna, namely sprishta, and therefore they are to be termed savarna of each other. Then we have two, ta, tha, da, dha and na. They have similar sthana, namely murdhan, and similar abhyantara prayatna, namely sprishta or contact. So all these sounds, they are savarna of each other. Similarly, we have two, meaning ta, tha, da, dha and na. They have similar sthana, danta, and similar abhyantara prayatna, namely sprishta. So they are to be termed as savarna or homogeneous of each other. And finally, we have pu, standing for pa, fa, ba, bha and ma. They have similar sthana, namely oshtha, and abhyantara prayatna, namely sprishta. So in accordance with the sutra tulyasya prayatnam savarnam 119, they are to be termed as savarna of each other. This is how Paninian grammatical tradition defines savarna, and we have studied different sounds that are termed savarna of each other. It is also important in this case to note which sounds are not considered as savarnas. This is what is stated by the Sutra Najhalau. It assumes that there are some vowels and some consonants whose place of articulation and whose internal effort of articulation is going to be the same. So for example, a and h, even if they share sthana, which is kantha, and abhyantara prayatna, namely vivruta. So there is tulyasya prayatnatva. Still, they are not to be termed as savarna. This is what is stated by Najhala 1:110, because a is a vowel and h is a consonant. That's why a and h are not to be termed as savarnas of each other. Very crucial fact. Similarly, E and Sh are not to be termed as savarnas of each other even if they share sthana, namely talu, and abhyantara prayatna, namely vivruta, because E is a vowel and Sh is a consonant. In accordance with 1110 Najhalau, E and Sh are not termed as savarna of each other. Similarly, you have R and Sh, even if they share the sthana, namely murdhan, and the abhyantara prayatna, namely vivruta, they are not to be termed savarna, primarily because Ru is a vowel and Sh is a consonant. So Najhalau applies over here, and Ru and Sh are not termed as savarnas of each other as a result. And finally, we have Lu and Sa. They are also not to be termed as savarnas, even if they share sthana, that is danta, and abhyantara prayatna, namely vivruta, because Lu is a vowel and S is a consonant, and Najhalau negates the savarna saudhnya to both a vowel and a consonant with respect to each other. Even if tulyasya prayatnam savarnam gives the savarna saudhnya to them both, Najhalau negates it. So, having put both these sutras together, we can understand what is a savarna. Now, what is the use of the term savarna? We have already stated that once the sounds are termed savarna with reference to each other, one sound can be mentioned in an enunciation and can be said to represent the remaining savarna sounds. This is what Panini does in mentioning the sound in the Pratyahara Sutras. So he does not mention all sounds over there. He mentions only one of each set. So A of the 18 varieties, E of the 18, U of the 18, and so on and so forth. And then he creates a rule 1169 which says that these sounds mentioned in the 14 Pratyahara Sutras and Ku, Chu, Tu, Tu and Pu, they stand for, they represent their savarna sounds. So when you utter just one sound, it stands for all the 18 varieties in terms of a vowel. And if you mention just Ku, it stands for all its 5 sounds, class sounds. This is how Panini attains brevity and also the scientific base for the operations which are called the grammatical operations, which are stated in his own grammar. Now, the grammatical operations that should be stated with reference to a particular set of sounds which are savarna, Panini uses only one sound and uses 1169 to state what is needed. He uses the word, for example, asya, which has got the 6th case in it, 6-1 of a, as the substituent in 7432, asya chvau. Now, even though the word asya is used by 1169, this asya means that the substitution stated by 7432 is applicable to all 18 varieties of a, which are savarna of a. Now, because of 7432, a in Shukla, this a at the end is substituted by e. Shukla becomes Shukli as an output. Now, just as this short a becomes e, you will also have long a, which is a savarna, which is stated to be a savarna of short a, to be substituted by long e. So, mala become mali and shukla becomes shukli. This is an important function of the term savarna. Similarly, in 61101 akasavarne dirghaha, the term savarna is used essentially to state the vowel sandhi which is of dvisthanika ekadesha type. To summarize, the features of sounds noted by Panini serve the purpose of brevity in the system of grammar. The grammarian can mention a big set of sounds briefly by the mention of one of them and uses the term savarna which is based on these features. Rules can be based on these features to account for the linguistic usage. And now, after having understood the term savarna, we shall apply it in the sutra akasavarne dirghaha, and we have already studied the meaning of akasavarne dirghaha, but now we shall study the examples. First the prototypical examples and then the specific ones in order to understand akasavarne dirghaha in more details. This we shall do in the next lecture. Thank you for your patience.